Hi everyone, okay, back with video number 9, over 4,000 DVD titles in alphabetical order. Here we go. Billy Crudup and Samantha Morton in Jesus' Son. Oliver Stone's fantastic JFK with Kevin Costner. Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan in John Patrick Shanley's Joe versus the Volcano. Interesting one this, Dustin Hoffman and Mia Farrow in John and Mary, directed by Peter Yates. And Taylor Kitsch in the much criticised John Carter. Denzel Washington in John Q. And John Wick. John Wick Chapter 2, I don't have 3 or 4 yet, but I have seen them several times. Enjoy all the John Wick movies, they're great. A young Anthony Michael Hall, Robert Downey Jr. and Uma Thurman in Johnny Be Good. Oscar-winning performance from Jane Wyman in Johnny Belinda. And okay, not really a movie, but this is a Johnny Cash Christmas special that features Steve Martin before he went on to movie fame. Michael Keaton in a spoof gangster movie, Johnny Dangerously, directed by Amy Heckerling. And written by Dalton Trumbo, this is Johnny Got His Gun. Mickey Rourke in Johnny Handsome, directed by Walter Hill. And Keanu Reeves in Johnny Mnemonic. Hal Stallmaster as Johnny Tremaine in this Disney classic. And the rather spiritual Jonathan Livingston Seagull from the novel by Richard Bach, and this features a music score by Neil Diamond. Pat Boone and James Mason in the Jules Verne adaptation of Journey to the Centre of the Earth. And the Silver Linings Playbook team of Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper and Robert De Niro reunite in Joy. Alain Delon and Jane Fonda in René Clément's Joy House, also known as Les Félins. Creepy one this with Paul Walker and Steve Zahn. This is Joyride. Candy Cane. Must admit, I'm not a big fan of this one, but this is Joyeux Noël. Remade as The Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar, but this is the original Ju-On. And Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall in The Judge. Stallone as Judge Dredd. And a classic all-star cast in Stanley Kramer's Judgment at Nuremberg. Mia Wasikowska in Judy and Punch. And directed by famed cinematographer Ernest Dickerson, this is Juice with Omar Epps and Tupac. Jane Fonda and Vanessa Redgrave in the Oscar-winning Julia. And Hayden Christensen leaps around in Doug Liman's Jumper. Amy Adams in Junebug. And a steelbook here for Walt Disney's original The Jungle Book. And the live-action Sabu version directed by Zoltan Korda. Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park 3. Jurassic World. Zack Snyder's Justice League. And the animated Justice League The New Frontier. Directed by Frank Rodham, this is K2 with Matt Craven. And Jim Belushi in the 3 K9 movies. Akira Kurosawa's Kagemusha. And directed by Dominic Senna, this is Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis in California. Warren Beatty and Susanna York in Kaleidoscope. And Raquel Welch in Kansas City Bomber. A great film noir, Kansas City Confidential. And this is Mohsen Makhmalbaf's Kandahar, so not to be confused with the Gerard Butler film. Here we've got 4 different Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi films. And yes, I admit it, I have Katy Perry, Part of Me. Maggie Smith and Rowan Atkinson in Keeping Mum. Clint Eastwood, Telly Savalas and Don Rickles in Kelly's Heroes. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall in Key Largo. Directed by John Stahl, but with a script by Joseph L. Mankiewicz from A.J. Cronin's novel. This is Gregory Peck in The Keys of the Kingdom. And classic Charlie Chaplin, The Kid. Elvis Presley gets in the boxing ring for Kid Galahad, with an early role for Charles Bronson. Really good documentary of this on Hollywood producer Robert Evans, who produced movies such as Chinatown. This is The Kid Stays in the Picture. From Studio Ghibli, Kiki's Delivery Service. Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Chow Yun-fat in John Woo's classic The Killer. And a Canadian thriller with Michael Ironside, Killer Image. Directed by Michael Winterbottom, this is Casey Affleck and Kate Hudson in The Killer Inside Me. And yeah, good fun this one, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Charles Burnett's Killer of Sheep, and this disc also includes his other film, My Brother's Wedding. Brian Dennehy, Barbara Hershey and Hal Holbrook in A Killing in a Small Town, directed by Stephen Gyllenhaal. And from Yorgos Lanthimos, The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Brad Pitt and James Gandolfini in Andrew Dominik's Killing Them Softly. Mickey Rourke and Diane Lane in Kill Shot. Israeli film from director Nadav Lapid, this is The Kindergarten Teacher. And Gael Garcia Bernal and William Hurt in The King. Classic Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, The King and I, with Yul Brynner and Deborah Kerr. And Guy Ritchie's very ho-hum with Charlie Hunnam, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Elvis Presley and Walter Matthau in King Creole. And the 1933 classic King Kong. John Gilliman's 1976 remake, but I do have the Shout Factory Blu-ray of this one, which also includes the extended TV edit. Highly recommended. And then Peter Jackson's version as well, King Kong. John Gilliman's King Kong Lives, which received absolutely terrible reviews. Must admit, I do still have a bit of a soft spot for it. From director Nicholas Ray, this biblical epic King of Kings, starring Jeffrey Hunter. And from Walt Disney, King of the Grizzlies. From director Brian Forbes, this is George Segal in King Rat. And Will Smith in King Richard. Stuart Granger and Deborah Kerr in the 1950s version of King Solomon's Mines. And late career roles for Rex Harrison and Wendy Hiller in The Kingfisher. Frank Sinatra, Tony Curtis and Natalie Wood in World War II drama Kings Go Forth. And coming-of-age comedy The Kings of Summer. A stammering Colin Firth as King George VI in The King's Speech, also starring Geoffrey Rush. And the follow-up to The Kingsman, The Secret Service, this is The Golden Circle. Matt Dillon and Sean Young in director James Dearden's A Kiss Before Dying, which is a remake of the Robert Wagner film. And Shane Black's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer. Some more Fox film noir, this is Victor Mature in Kiss of Death. And from the Hammer Studios 1962, this is Kiss of the Vampire. Based on the novel by James Patterson, this is Morgan Freeman and Ashley Judd in Kiss the Girls. And from director James Mangold, Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz in Night and Day. Not a great movie, but still some great action in it. Robert Taylor, Ava Gardner and Mel Ferrer in Knights of the Round Table. And Vin Diesel and Barry Pepper in Knockaround Guys. Nicolas Cage in Knowing. And the Oscar-winning Czech film Kolya. Just a little bit of TV here, but this is Michael Douglas and Alan Arkin in the first season of The Kaminsky Method. And this is a documentary on Thor Heyerdahl's raft journey across the Pacific Ocean, Kon-Tiki. Great animated movie this, Kubo and the Two Strings. And finishing off the K's, this is Martin Scorsese's Kundun. Okay, I'll leave it there. Come back for video 10 for the L's and onward. Yeah, let me know in the comments any movies that you want me to talk about in the future. There is a playlist on my channel as well, so if you want to follow along that way, please like, subscribe to follow along that way as well. Okay, thanks very much for joining me on this. All the best to you. Bye-bye.